Everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 19th, 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, La Liga's president Javier Tebas has responded to Barcelona's complaint requesting the punishing of Real Madrid and their demented leader, Florentino Perez. Also, a surprise exit of one of Barcelona's goalkeeper. And finally, Christensen's renewal. We have an update. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo. And today we had another crazy day in the 2026 World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, the USA becoming the second team to qualify to the round of 32. Yes, you heard that right. Under the new format, there's no round of 16 first. There's a round 32 and then round of 16, then quarterfinals, semifinals, and final, with 48 nations now instead of 32. But yesterday, Mexico became the first team to qualify to the knockout stages to the round of 32. And then today, the United States men's national team becoming the second team to qualify to the round of 32. So not only we have two teams in the next round, but both of teams are host nations. So congratulations to both Mexico and the U.S. for making it to the knockout stages. And it looks like we also have two teams going home already. Haiti losing their second match against this time against Brazil. And then, of course, Turkey losing at the hands of Paraguay. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, Brazil easily cruising to a victory against Haiti 3-0. That's not the surprising thing. Of course, Rafinha, ladies and gentlemen, abandoning the field, it looks like due to injury. Now, he did walk out. He looked fine. He wasn't limping. He didn't look like he was in pain. So hopefully this is just precautionary. They're saying it's a muscle problem. We'll see. As you know, medical tests are usually performed the next day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's hope Rafinha is well. But, it's starting to worry me a little bit, all these injuries that Rafinha has been suffering. He suffered a lot of injuries this last season. And now, another injury. Hopefully not. Hopefully he will be healthy. So I wish Rafinha a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's nothing serious because I would hate for him to miss the World Cup with Brazil. Now, Turkey-Paraguay. What a match. I just finished watching. I watched all four matches today. Wow. Talk about a terrible match, huh? Talk about a race to the bottom. They were both awful. First of all, Paraguay scoring that really early goal. I think it's the fastest goal in the World Cup right now in this edition of the World Cup. And then their player gets a red card due to the dumbest, stupidest, most embarrassing rule ever. They're calling it the Cristiani rule because, of course, this happened. I don't know if you guys remember Real Madrid versus Benfica. Cristiani covers his mouth, and it's first of all, it's Cristiani and Vinicius Jr. They're arguing, they're insulting each other, and then Cristiani covers his mouth. He says something to Vinicius. Vinicius, like the little bitch that he is, runs to the referee, complains, says that he's been racially abused. Cristiani says there's no proof of either way. But of course, as always, it's Cristiani who gets punished and Vinicius not, because that's just how football is, right? You can abuse players, you can beat up players, you can punch players, you can do anything to players, but the moment you say something to Vinicius, it's the end of the world. Everybody has to act. So as a result of that, they have implemented a new rule where if you cover your mouth, it's an automatic red. Fucking retarded. But anyways, Paraguay's player gets a red card, the first player ever to get a red card for this stupid rule. And then Paraguay hold off that 1-0 lead with 10 men. Turkey's officially out as well. So pretty crazy day. We have two teams in, two teams out. Tomorrow, more exciting matches. I'm enjoying this World Cup except for this really stupid rule. And I don't know if I'm liking the extended format. I guess it is nice to have more matches. But at the same time, we're seeing very low quality matches as a result of it. But anyways, it is what it is. All right, enough about the World Cup. Let's talk about the World Cup. But this time it's actually related to Barcelona because, ladies and gentlemen, I came across a pretty interesting fact about Barcelona's newest signing, Anthony Gordon, who played against England. And people start saying, why did Barcelona sign him? Marcus Rashford scored a goal and he didn't. Because, that's the only way we can measure players, right? If they score a goal, and if not, well, they suck. So, hey, all goalkeepers around the world, you guys all suck. You can't score goals. So Well, what are we gonna do, right? What are we gonna do? Barca fans for you. Anyways, Gordon, of course, someone that Barcelona signed due to his age, 25 years old, in his prime, due to his experience. He's played in the Premier League, he's played in the Champions League, he's played for England's first team. His work rate, we've seen how he presses like a possessed person. And of course, his tactical versatility. He can play as a left winger, he can play as a center forward, and as a right winger as well. Against Croatia, we saw his pressing, how he contributed to several turnovers committed by Croatia's goalkeeper, Livakovic. But of course, nobody even noticed that. Hey, Rashford scored a goal, right? That's all that counts. Anyways, he, of course, helped England maintain their intensity and helped England, through that intensity, force many errors by Croatia that England was able to exploit. But that's not what I'm here to tell you, because the really interesting fact, or the really interesting record that or number that Gordon achieved or reached during the World Cup, is that during these presses that he was doing that was causing Croatia to commit so many mistakes, is he reached a velocity of 37.92 kilometers per hour. I'll say that again. Anthony Gordon reached a 37.92 kilometers per hour speed, making him the fastest player currently in the World Cup, surpassing the likes of Van de Ven, Martinelli, Barcola, and Jed Spencer. But it gets crazier, because this speed of 37.92 kilometers per hour that Anthony Gordon achieved when he was pressing, it surpassed the average speed of Usain Bolt during his world record 100-meter run. Crazy. Pretty crazy. But hey, why did we sign Gordon, right? Should have signed Rashford. Anyways, let's all move on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Javier Tebas responding to Barcelona's complaint requesting that La Liga, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and the CTA, or the Technical Committee of Referees, punish Florentino Perez and Real Madrid for the consistent attacks that Barcelona have been suffering at the hands of that demented man. Now, quick recap: back on May 12th, Florentino Perez held a press conference where people thought he was going to take responsibility for his disastrous presidency, but instead he blamed everything on Negreira, accusing Barcelona of bribing referees and accusing referees of getting rich off the payments that Barcelona made to them. This, of course, caused him 3 legal complaints, 2 by the referees and 1 by Barcelona. And then, of course, yesterday, Florentino Perez sent a writing, an official demand to UEFA that they open disciplinary actions into Barcelona for the Negreira case. And Barcelona responded by sending a letter to La Liga, to the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and to the Technical Committee of Referees, or the CTA, requesting that Florentino Perez and Real Madrid be punished for these statements, because, of course, they are defamatory. There's absolutely no proof that Barcelona bribed any referees or influenced any competition, but yet this has not stopped the demented Florentino Perez of consistently repeating this message. Now, Javier Tebas has responded to this letter. Now, we don't have the official wording of the letter, but sources who have read this letter have communicated to Mundo Deportivo what the content was. Now, in this letter, Florentino Perez shared or informed Barcelona that he shared his concerns with the club regarding these public statements, which, of course, could damage the integrity, honor, and prestige of the institutions or that oversee the competition, which is La Liga, the Royal Spanish Football Federation, and the Technical Committee of Referees. Because, of course, when you're saying that Barcelona bribed referees, you're not just accusing Barcelona of a crime. You're also saying that La Liga is up for sale, that these referees are up for sale. So you're accusing everybody, right? You're damaging the reputation and integrity, not just of Barca, but of the competition and the bodies that oversee the competition. Not to mention, as I said, this is how stupid Madridistas are when you say that Barcelona bought these trophies. Real Madrid is also undermining their own trophies that they won, because if you're saying that Barca bought trophies, that means that, well, La Liga is up for sale, right? And whoever wins it that year, is the one who paid the highest bid. So the years that Madrid won, that's because Madrid paid the most money. And the years that Barcelona won is because Barcelona paid the most money, right? That's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just say when we win it, it's fair and square, and when they win it, it's because it's bribery. It's either all bribery or it's either all clean. That's how it works. But anyways, these people are stupid. You cannot reason with them. So anyways, in his letter to Barcelona, or in his response to Barcelona, Tebas shared Barcelona's concerns regarding these public statements because they damage the integrity of the competition and the bodies that oversee it. And of course, Tebas also expressed his agreement with these concerns that Barcelona brought up. And he also highlighted the previous complaints filed against Real Madrid TV. In other words, like Tebas saying, yeah, look, I agree with you. I share my concerns with you. But look, I've actually been doing something about it. He referenced how, I think it was in 2025, he took action against Real Madrid and their TV platform, bringing a complaint against them. He also filed other complaints about um, with the Royal Spanish Football Federation about the Real Madrid TV. When those complaints were dismissed, he appealed those decisions with the Administrative Sports of Tribunal. So in other words, Tebas saying, hey, I agree with you, and also I've actually been working against this. And finally, he ended the letter, with his, committing that the La Liga is going to continue defending its honor and it's protecting the credibility of the competition. So this is, of course, good. This means that Barcelona are not alone in this fight against this demented man called Florentino Perez. It looks like Javier Tebas is saying that him, as president of La Liga, he agrees with Barcelona, and he is, shares their concern and is willing to do something about it. Let's see what the Royal Spanish Football Federation and Technical Committee's response will be, and let's hope that they actually do something about this and they're not just empty words, because like I said, as long as they don't do something about it, Real Madrid is going to keep doing it, because why wouldn't they? It works, right? They're distracting their fan base from all the messes that they're doing, and there's no repercussions for it. So until there's repercussions, they're going to continue doing it. So Tebas, if you really want them to stop, do something. Royal Spanish Football Federation, same thing to you. CTA, same thing to you. Start finding them. And if they do it again, find them again. And if they do it again, find them again, and keep doing it until they stop, because eventually they will stop, because it's going to get expensive. But anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a surprise exit, and it's no other than Inaki Pena, the 27-year-old Barcelona goalkeeper who has a contract with the club until 2029. Of course, Barcelona sent Inaki Pena on loan with Elche. The loan started out good, with Inaki Pena having good minutes with Elche, but then eventually kind of fell through when Inaki Pena lost his starting spot and became a substitute at Elche. So, of course, Elche decided not to move forward with the purchase of Inaki Pena, so he will be returning to the club. But don't fear, because Barcelona have found a solution. Inaki Pena is currently finalizing his transfer to the Greek club Panathinaikos. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Greek words are difficult. But anyways, Inaki Pena will be moving to the Greek club Panathinaikos for less than 3 million euros. So it's going to be a very modest transfer fee. But nonetheless, this will be a huge benefit for Barcelona, because they will be able to remove his salary off their books, allowing more space to register players, new players that Barcelona will be signing. In fact, I made a video earlier before this one announcing 2 more signings that Barcelona have made. Now, they're talking about there could be a Barcelona keeping a percentage of any future sales to kind of make up for this modest transfer fee. That's not 100% yet, but just know that Inaki Pena will be leaving the club pretty soon. In fact, they're saying as soon as this weekend, because the Greek club Panathinaikos, their preseason begins on Tuesday, and they would prefer that Inaki Pena begins the preseason with them. In other words, they prefer that Inaki Pena on Tuesday is in Greece starting the preseason. So we could be expecting an official announcement as soon as this weekend that Inaki Pena has moved to Greece on a permanent transfer. This is not a loan. This is a permanent transfer. And of course, Even though this sucks because, Inaki Pena came up through the academy. I thought he did well when he covered for Ter Stegen. But nonetheless, it's good news because, again, Barcelona, even they'll make some money, maybe some more in the future if he ends up doing great and the Greek club sells him. And of course, they remove his salary off the wage bill and they make some space because, well, right now we have an overbooking in the goalkeeper, right? We have Ter Stegen, we have Wojciech, we have Juan Garcia, we have Diego Kochen, we have Jakobushvili coming back um, from loan, and we have Astralaga coming back from loan. So at least we know that Inaki Pena has found a new destination. Now, more news because it's been confirmed the contract renewal of Andreas Christensen. Of course, we talked about this in the past many times. Christensen's contract expires on June 30th, or expired on June 30th, which is right around the corner. Barcelona decided to extend his contract as a thank you since he came as a free agent, and then with his injury, they didn't want to leave him hanging. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Don't get me wrong, Christensen, great center back when he's healthy, but that's the problem. When he's healthy, he hasn't been healthy the last 2 seasons. He has missed 2 seasons. And what is Deco and Laporta's brilliant idea to a player who missed 2 seasons due to injury? Let's renew him some more. This is, of course, finalized. The player and the club have reached an agreement. It's all done. Christensen will extend by 2 more seasons until 2028. He's currently earning 12 million euros per season. That will be reduced to 5 million, so his salary will go down to 5 million. But if he is available for 60% or more of the matches, in other words, if he stays healthy, he can earn an extra 3 to 4 million euros, so up to 9 million euros if he stays healthy. So, since this is, again, I don't agree with this. I think it's dumb, but it's done. It's going to happen. So in that case, I really hope and wish and pray that Christensen can stay healthy because, like I said, when he is healthy, he's an incredible center back. No arguing there. I'm not here to bash Christensen. I think he's a great center back. The problem is he's never healthy. So let's all hope and wish Christensen the best and hope he can stay healthy so he can contribute to the team since he will be here until 2028. Now, the last bit of news is it looks like we know where Robert Lewandowski will be going. Of course, Lewandowski, who decided not to extend his contract with Barcelona, will be leaving as a free agent. I say will be because, of course, his contract expires on June 30th. So technically, he's still a Barcelona player, even though he's not. You know what I mean? But anyways, looks like Lewandowski will be going to Chicago Fire to the MLS. It looks like last week he traveled to Chicago where he met club executives. He spoke to the coaching staff. He went and saw the project himself, training facilities, stadium, etc., etc. And it looks like he will be signing with Chicago Fire for 2 seasons with an optional third, and he could be presented as soon as next week. So it looks like Lewandowski is coming to the or going to the US. I'm currently in Argentina, but I guess he will be in the US. Chicago makes sense. It's a home for more than 700,000 Polish Americans. And it's a pretty cool city. I like Chicago. I prefer New York pizza, but hey, everybody has their own tasting, their own taste. But anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I went live a few moments ago. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, now and forever, be Barça.